You didn't get a new violation. You didn't get into an accident. Heck, you didn't even change drivers. But a 9-0 Supreme Court decision may still change whether brokers want your trucks. Because overnight, carrier selection stopped being about paperwork and started becoming real legal exposure. Hey, I'm Chris with Valley Trucking Insurance, and welcome back. Quick note, Valley specializes in trucking insurance. If you run trucks for a living, this is the kind of ruling that hits your dispatch board well before it hits your renewal. So stay with me on this one. All right, everyone saw the headline, Supreme Court, brokers, liability. Most people thought this was a broker problem. Well, guess what? It isn't. Because if brokers suddenly carry more risk when they choose carriers, they do what every business does when risk goes up. They become picky, very picky. And if you run trucks, this might hit your freight opportunities well before it hits your insurance renewal. What changed is simple. Brokers now have more reason to defend every carrier decision they make. And that changes behavior immediately. Okay, before I get practical, we need to understand the shift. Because this is where things quietly change. The questions brokers ask just changed. For years, the question was, okay, can this carrier move the freight? Well, now the question becomes, can I defend hiring this carrier if something goes wrong? This sounds subtle, but it isn't, because brokers now have to think about records, safety, inspection history, crash history, public FMCSA data. If something looks risky, the broker has to be able to explain why they hired you. Puts them in a really bad spot. Okay, before we go any deeper, fleet owners need to hear this because many still think the old way. Your CSA score is not just compliance. Okay, for years, CSA felt like a paperwork problem, something for audits, something for safety meetings perhaps. Well, not anymore. Your public profile is becoming part compliance score, part sales profile, part legal defense package. Clean fleets become easier decisions. Questionable fleets, well, they become harder conversations. Now let's talk about brokers specifically. Okay, brokers they're matchmakers, okay? They connect freight to carriers. Pretty simple, right? Sounds harmless. Until you realize matchmakers can now be questioned for who they introduced. Oops. Brokers are not buying capacity. You think brokers buy trucks? Well, guess what? Not anymore. They buy defensibility. Every load assignment is now something they have to defend later on. That means brokers will be looking harder at who they put on their loads. And that pressure, well, lands in your file. Let's make this practical because there are things that create immediately friction. Okay, first, conditional safety rating. Second, repeated out-of-service events. And third, multiple recent crashes stacked together. Any one issue might not kill the load, but multiple issues together, well, they create questions, and brokers do not want their files full of questions. Now, here's the part most people are missing. Even if you do nothing wrong, your position can still change. Well, how? The baseline is moving. Okay, picture two fleets. Fleet A, well, they improve safety scores. Fleet B, well, they don't change anything. Fleet B thinks that they stayed stable, but if everyone else gets cleaner, your relative position shifts. That matters because metrics are not always absolute. There's a weird side effect nobody talks about. When fleets making no noise might win, okay, not the loud fleets, not the fleets posting screenshots, not the fleets saying they have great drivers. The winners simply are fleets with blurring records. Okay, they have clean inspections, good documentation, really no drama. Turns out boring can become a competitive advantage. Now let's connect this to insurance, okay, because eventually all roads lead there. And this matters more than people think. Insurance requirements could quietly change in the background. Okay, federal minimums did not suddenly change, all right, but market behavior is shifting. And you may start seeing higher requested limits, umbrella requirements, additional insured requests, expanded documentation requests, because nervous brokers, well, they're going to protect themselves. And nervous brokers often create new requirements. This is where it gets real for your wallet, okay? Umbrella coverage is about to stop being optional. It just is. Most for-hire fleets carry $1 million in primary auto liability. That's been the standard for years. Brokers accepted it. Shippers accepted it. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else to talk about. Post-ruling, however, expect brokers to start asking for more. $2, $3, $5 million on certain loads, especially for high-value hazmat or anything that could be a catastrophic loss. Here's the thing about umbrella coverage. Before you buy it, when you buy it, you'll probably not need it. Because by the time you need it, you can't buy it. If a broker asks you for a $5 million in coverage on Monday and you don't have that in hand, you're going to lose the load. And if you wait until next renewal to add it, you spent 6 months losing freight to fleets that already had it. This is the conversation we're having every day at Valley with our clients. Pull your declarations page, look at your primary auto liability limit, look at whether you have an umbrella coverage sitting behind it. If the answer is no, that's a problem you may want to solve before brokers fully adjust their requirements and not after. Okay, before we wrap this up, try this today. Run the 5-minute broker test. Open your public safer profile, pretend you've never seen it before. No emotions, no context, no excuses. Now ask this one question. Would I hire this fleet? Because that is increasingly how brokers may look at you. Because information without action, well, it does nothing. Here are 3 moves to make the next 60 days. First, pull your safer profile and review every single public signal. Violations, inspection history, crash data, anything inaccurate, well, you need your attention. Second, get umbrella coverage in place. Not next renewal, do it now. Because broker requirements are going to outrun policy renewal cycles. The fleets that already have 2, 3, 5 million sitting behind their primary auto will pick up the loads, okay? That's going to come with the new requirements. The fleets that don't, well, you're going to lose them. Third, tighten every driver qualification file. I mean it. MVRs, road tests, drug clearinghouse checks, documentation consistency. Because inconsistent paperwork becomes dangerous paperwork down the road. ATRI already found that insurance cost and availability jumped sharply as a trucking concern, while lawsuit pressures continue rising across the industry. So this ruling does not happen in isolation. It lands in an industry already under immense pressure. Here's the big takeaway. Most people thought this was a broker story. Okay, for fleets, it really is a visibility story because information that sat quietly in the background yesterday may directly affect freight access for you tomorrow. And fleets that understand the shift early may not just protect themselves. They may take market share away from fleets that react late. Okay, now I want to hear from you. What's your read on the ruling? What are fleet owners, are you guys getting different questions from brokers this week? You know, are you an owner operator perhaps wondering whether your CSA profile is going to start costing you money, start costing you loads? Well, drop it in the comments. I read every single one of them. If this helped you, hit the like button. If it helps more fleet owners find brokers before they fully adjust this vetting period over the next 60 days, here's the real call to action. Right. If you don't have umbrella coverage on your trucking operation right now, this is the moment to fix that. Not next month, not a renewal, do it now. Head to valleytruckinginsurance.com/quotes and request one. Okay, while we're at it, we'll look into your full trucking policy, your primary auto, your cargo, your MCS 90, your additional assured language, everything brokers are about to start asking for. If it's solid, we'll tell you it's solid. If there's going to be gaps, we're going to show you the gaps. Either way, you'll walk away knowing what you have before the broker calls and asks for it. Don't wait until you lose the load and find out your coverage doesn't measure up. Get a quote today. Again, I'm Chris. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. We'll see you in the next video.